I'm just a pill, yes I'm only a pill, and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. World is a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long week while I'm sitting in committee. But I know I'll be alone till the end, 'cause I hope and pray that I'll but today I'm with you.
Good morning, this is Bill Scher on the Liberal Oasis radio show, WHMP, News, Information, and the Arts. We are 48 hours away from the Democratic National Convention. When you hear this, we may know who Barack Obama's vice presidential choice is. I am taping this broadcast on Friday. I am bereft of that information. BlackBerry is by my side, just in case it happens to arise in the midst of taping. But at the risk of making predictions when they can be easily disproven in rapid time, it would seem as if the pick will be Joe Biden, the senator from Delaware. If you ask me, and I would not have predicted such a thing a week ago, I would have thought that Joe Biden's reputation for getting off message, freelancing, going his own way, not being a team player, would not fit well with the very disciplined operation that Barack Obama has put together. But it seems to me in the past week, we've had trial balloons floated. There was a Tim Kaine trial balloon floated by design or by happenstance. It seems that some of the people around Kaine blabbed a little bit to the press that led to a lot of coverage of him. But that did not seem to be warmly embraced by too many folks. The record, he seems to be a perfectly decent individual. There's some complaining from liberals in Virginia that he didn't govern as progressively as he campaigned. But for the most part, considered an up-and-coming politician, but he has been governor for very long and hasn't had as many signature accomplishments to his name to speak of to really sell him as the most qualified person next to Barack Obama to be president. Then we had sort of an Evan Bayh boomlet after the two of them had an appearance together in Indiana. That got a lot of pushback from members of the liberal base. Evan Bayh is basically the most conservative senator in the Democratic caucus. You had some online organizing trying to stop that from happening. That might have given Barack Obama some pause. And then you had a frenzy of focus on Joe Biden, which to me didn't seem to be based on much reporting, just basically on what the pundit class would like. But it seemed to have some confirmation by Newsweek reporter Howard Fineman, as he talked to some inside sources that said that Biden was the likely pick. And that response to that speculation has been generally positive, not only from the pundit class, who likes Biden because he's media accessible, he's good with the snappy quote, he'd be fun to cover. But you didn't see the kind of pushback from the liberal base that Evan Bayh got, even though the liberal base has had its disagreements with Biden. Biden did vote for the Iraq War authorization. Joe Biden was a champion of the horrific bankruptcy bill, for example, that has hurt the middle class. A lot of these big financial institutions are based in the state of Delaware. But it seems to me that despite those policy disagreements, Joe Biden has certainly not been a cheerleader for the war since that vote. He's definitely lent his foreign policy expertise to criticize the actual invasion itself and how it's been prosecuted ever since. He was not a champion of the surge, for example. He is not an advocate of permanent bases in Iraq. He does not cross the neocon line. And because he has an aggressive and pugnacious style, as well as being perceived as having great stature and gravitas on foreign policy, that gives him the ability to be a high-minded attack dog. When John McCain says something from the neocon fever swamp, Joe Biden can get right in McCain's face and challenge that and get a hearing for it. He could say the exact same thing as Barack Obama. A lot of people in the pundit class will take Biden more seriously. So you might want to have Biden take the lead on that. When Joe Biden said in the Democratic debates that every sentence out of Rudy Giuliani's mouth was a noun, a verb, and 9/11, that was a devastating attack on Giuliani that not many people could successfully deliver without it seeming to be petty. When Joe Biden said it was seen as having some real oomph behind it, and that I think was a tipping point in perceptions of Giuliani, where he was seen not as the god of 9/11, but seen more as a caricature who was just blowing smoke most of the time. So there are things that Biden can do that are unique if he can be a disciplined surrogate, and that would be the wild card, of course, if he was the pick. And to the extent that there are policy disagreements that I think liberals have with Biden, as I've said in past shows, that is not terribly relevant as to how Obama would govern. There's never going to be any politician you agree with on everything, but the person whose policies matter is the guy at the top. He sets the course. The vice president, in the end, is the good soldier, might give contrary advice privately. And it's always good to have a diversity of views in one's administration. But no one should assume that everything that Biden believes should be now transferred to Obama. We've certainly seen after the Russia-Georgia conflict, right now in the race, clearly what's top of mind for most voters is the economy. I think that is widely agreed upon. I don't think that the race will turn on foreign policy hotspots like a Russia-Georgia conflict or whatever conflagration might arise in the next couple of months. Certainly there's so much tending to be done on foreign policy that anything could blow at any time. But most people care about the economy. However, and Obama's got the edge vis-a-vis McCain on that in every poll. But McCain's got the edge on Obama on foreign policy in every poll. And so that is what lingering hesitation there may be in Obama building a big lead. He still has a lead in every single poll. The one exception of Zogby, although Zogby's been an outlier in the range of polling. Most of the polling we've seen over the past month has been Obama, again, about 5 or 6 ahead. Seen a little bit of tightening in the past week. Couple major network polls had Obama up by 3. You still don't see McCain breaking 45% in any poll. And Obama generally has been in the mid-40s or upper 40s. I think you've seen in McCain's attacks something that the conservative base appreciates, and they consolidate around him when that happens, but it is not helping McCain get the swing vote. However, when that Russia-Georgia conflict happened, that helped reestablish McCain as a foreign policy leader. Again, I'm talking about perception, not my personal opinion. And it helps sow doubt. Can the new guy be commander-in-chief? So that is the tension of the race. There's definitely a sense that we need a different economic policy, that conservative economic policies failed. There's definitely a sense that, reckless invading and occupying and bombing is not a foreign policy that actually stabilizes the world and keeps our nation safe. But there still is that deep-seated stereotype that Republicans are better on national security than Democrats. I think that perception has narrowed considerably because Republicans have done such a bad job on national security. But McCain has some credentials, perception-wise, that belie that. And therefore, it can be helpful to have someone with that foreign policy resume side by side with Obama giving that testimony. That not only does Barack Obama have the requisite judgment to be an effective commander-in-chief, but to undercut the notion that John McCain brings something special to this arena. So much of it is mere perception. McCain is as neocon as they come. He came into that Russia-Georgia conflict with no sense of the complexity and nuance of the situation. But because he was out there first, he was able to command the media spotlight quickly. He was able to then frame the discussion. And that's something that a Joe Biden can certainly help Obama do and mitigate and narrow that gap. So that, I presume, is the logic that's gone into this.